Hey, Fanku guys, I want to talk a little bit about sword turn today and unpack it more. Again, if you remember, sword turn, once we take a step, our hip and our weight shift goes to where our knee goes over our little toe joint, then our hip goes over the knee joint. And we end up in this type of a motion. So you can go back and forth. And if you remember, in this motion, you evade the attack, so there's a change body going on in your upper body. And on a physical level, you're stretching your ankle so that there isn't resistance in the knee, ankle, and hip. And the more you stretch that ankle, the less it will hurt in the knee. That's the odd thing about it. It's not necessarily that you're stressing the knee and needs to stretch the knee. The ankle joint is what needs stretching. Now, as we do this, we find that we can step around pivot points with this. But it's very important that when you step, you're going to point your toes in the direction that you want to follow through with. So if I want to sword turn in this direction, pointing my toe in that direction, that's where my punch or response is going to be. If I turn my foot concave like this, the old Wing Chun stance from Small Beginnings in their first technique, or their first kata, you'll find that you can sit on one heel, shift, and sit on the other. I have 180 degrees. I can punch from here, see where my toes pointing, and I can punch and move from here, see where my toes pointing. So as the Shaolin man comes in with the hard punches, and the Wing Chun man is standing right here, he knows how to move to the outside, and that was how small people could defeat big, large, tiger-style people. A woman could defeat a man, and so on. Now, when we're going to use this form of sitting, turn, sit, and relax, we're moving around these specific pivot points that you see in Wing Chun. But we're going to do more than what you see the average Kali guy do. We're going to drop weight onto an area and collapse the frame to some degree of the person. So now, Fudo no-do, let's discuss that. That is finding a pivot point and walking around this pivot point in the fight. And that's what I'm doing with my stance. Let's use the other hand. So here's a linear attack coming in. My stepping is going to step behind him and sit on that spot. So here's the pivot point right here. Now when that happens, as he's moving in, I'm also going to sink onto that spot. If you notice, here is his center of gravity coming out of his body, and right about here is where the weight is. He has too much weight. If I drop just 5–10 pounds of weight on him right here, it's too much for him to handle with his frame, and his body begins to crumble. So when I'm stepping and moving, again, move in with power, I want to be dropping weight onto him. His center of gravity is moving down his body and out, and I want to get right underneath that center of gravity and drop weight right into that spot where I am working close to my own body, and I'm drawing his center of gravity out of his body.